Don't think too much. That's the first step. Because thinking without action is one of the biggest traps in life. You know the feeling. A great idea comes to you. A spark, a chance, a possibility. And then your mind takes over. What if I fail? What if I'm not ready? What will people say? And just like that, the idea fades. The opportunity passes. And you stay exactly where you are. Listen carefully. Thinking too much doesn't make you smart. It makes you stuck. It robs you of action. It steals your confidence. It delays your success. Opportunities don't wait. Time doesn't wait. And life keeps moving. The difference between winners and losers isn't always talent. It isn't always luck. It's the willingness to act even when you don't feel ready. To move even when it's uncomfortable. To start even when the mind says, wait. So today, we're going to talk about something simple, but life-changing. How to stop thinking so much and start doing what needs to be done. Let's start with a simple truth. Thinking is not the problem. Overthinking is, because thinking helps you grow. But overthinking keeps you stuck. It keeps you in your head instead of moving in your life. And here's what most people don't realize. Overthinking is not intelligence. It's fear disguised as analysis. You tell yourself, I just need to think a little more. But what you really mean is, I'm afraid to act, afraid to fail, afraid to be judged, afraid to be wrong. So you think and think and think until the moment passes. Let me ask you something. How many opportunities have you lost? Not because you weren't capable, but because you waited too long? That's the cost of overthinking. It steals time. It kills confidence. It delays your progress. And the worst part? It feels productive. You sit there analyzing, planning, imagining every possible outcome, and you feel like you're doing something important. But in reality, nothing is moving. Your life stays the same. So how do you stop it? First, you must recognize it. Catch yourself in the act. When your mind starts running in circles, when you keep asking, what if? When you delay action for just a little more thinking, pause and ask yourself one powerful question. Is this helping me move forward or keeping me stuck? Because clarity does not come from endless thinking. Clarity comes from action. You don't think your way into confidence. You act your way into confidence. That's the difference. Now here's the second step. Limit your thinking time. Yes, limit it. Give yourself a short window. 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Think, plan, decide, and then act. Because decisions are powerful only when they are followed by action. Without action, they are just thoughts. And thoughts alone do not change your life. Now here's the third step. Accept imperfection. This is where most people struggle. They want everything to be perfect. The perfect plan, the perfect timing, the perfect outcome. But listen carefully. Perfection is a lie. It doesn't exist. And chasing it will keep you stuck forever. Because there will always be something more to think about, something more to analyze, something more to worry about. So instead of waiting for perfect, start with progress. Take the first step, even if it's messy, even if it's uncertain, even if it's uncomfortable, because progress creates momentum. And momentum silences overthinking. Now here's the final step. Train yourself to act quickly, not recklessly, but decisively. When you know something is right, move. When you feel the opportunity, take it. When you have an idea, start. Because the longer you wait, the louder your doubts become. The longer you hesitate, the stronger your fear grows. Speed is your advantage. Not rushing blindly, but refusing to stay stuck. Remember this. You don't need more time to think. You need more courage to act. And courage is not something you feel first. It's something you build by taking action. Small actions, repeated daily. So the next time you catch yourself overthinking, stop, breathe, decide, and move. Because your life will not change by what you think about all day. It will change by what you do. Let's talk about something most people never notice. Opportunities don't wait. They don't pause. They don't slow down. They show up and then they move on. And if you are stuck thinking, you miss them. Not because you're not capable, not because you're not ready, but because you hesitated. You see, overthinking has a hidden cost. It doesn't just delay your decisions, it destroys your opportunities. Think about it. An idea comes to your mind. A chance appears in front of you. A door opens just slightly. And in that moment, you feel it. Excitement, possibility, a spark of something better. But instead of acting, you start analyzing. What if it fails? What if I'm not ready? What if this goes wrong? And while you are busy asking questions, time is moving. Someone else is acting. Someone else is trying. Someone else is stepping forward. And the opportunity, it's gone. That's how overthinking works. It keeps you in the same place while life moves ahead without you. Now here's the painful truth. Most opportunities in life require speed, not perfection, speed, because opportunities reward action, not hesitation, not endless planning, not waiting until everything feels safe. They reward people who are willing to move even when they're unsure. Let me give you a powerful idea. You don't need certainty to act. You need courage, because certainty comes after action, not before. You don't feel confident and then take action. You take action and then confidence grows. But if you wait to feel ready, you will wait forever. That's why overthinking is so dangerous. It creates an illusion. The illusion that you are preparing when in reality, you are delaying, and delay is the silent killer of success. Now the question is, how do you break free? First, you must accept this truth. You will never have all the answers. Never. There will always be uncertainty. There will always be risk. There will always be something unknown. And that's okay, because growth lives in uncertainty, not in comfort, not in safety, but in the unknown. So instead of trying to eliminate uncertainty, learn to move with it. Take action anyway. Now here's the second step. Shift your focus. Stop asking, what if this goes wrong? Start asking, what if this goes right? What if this works? What if this changes my life? Because your mind will always find answers to the questions you ask. So ask better questions. Now here's the third step. Make fast decisions and adjust along the way. Most people want to get it right the first time, but success doesn't work that way. You try, you learn, you adjust, you improve. That's the process. But if you never start, you never learn. And if you never learn, you never grow. So don't aim to be perfect. Aim to begin. Now here's the final key. Take immediate action. The moment you feel an opportunity, do something. Send a message. Start the project. Take the first step. Don't wait. Because action breaks the cycle of overthinking. The moment you move, your focus shifts. Your energy changes. Your confidence begins to grow. And suddenly, the fear becomes smaller. That's the power of action. It silences doubt. It replaces fear with progress. It turns ideas into reality. So remember this. Opportunities don't disappear because life is unfair. They disappear because people hesitate. Don't let that be you. Don't let your thoughts rob you of your future. Don't let fear disguised as thinking keep you stuck. Because at the end of the day, it's not the smartest person who wins. It's not the one who thinks the most. It's the one who acts, the one who tries, the one who moves, even when it's uncomfortable. So the next time an opportunity appears, don't overthink it. Don't analyze it to death. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Decide, act, and figure it out along the way. Because your future is built by the opportunities you take, not the ones you think about. Let me tell you something simple. Action changes everything. Not thinking, not planning, not waiting. Action. You don't need more ideas. You need more movement, because movement creates progress, and progress builds confidence. Listen carefully. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes. The longer you think, the louder your fear gets. The longer you hesitate, the weaker your decision becomes. So what do? You act fast, not careless, but decisive. You train yourself to move immediately. You have an idea? Start. You see an opportunity? Take a step. You know what to do? Do it. Don't negotiate with your mind, because your mind will try to protect you. It will say, wait a little longer. Think a little more. Maybe tomorrow. That voice is not wisdom. It's fear, and fear grows with time. So you must interrupt it. How? With action. Small action. Simple action. Immediate action. You don't need to finish everything today, but you must start. Starting breaks the pattern. Starting kills hesitation. Starting builds momentum. And momentum is powerful, because once you move, it becomes easier to keep moving. Let me give you a rule. The 5-second rule. You think of something, count. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, move. No debate, no delay, just action. Because hesitation lives in those extra seconds. And if you wait, you lose. Now here's another truth. You will not feel ready. Forget that idea. Ready is a myth. Confidence is built after you act, not before. So act uncertain, act uncomfortable, act anyway, because action creates clarity, not thinking. Clarity comes from doing, from trying, from failing and learning. That's how you grow. Now listen closely. Speed is your advantage, not rushing blindly, but refusing to stay stuck. The world belongs to people who move, not people who wait, not people who overthink, but people who take action. So build the habit. Act when it's small. Act when it's easy. Act when it's hard. Act when you don't feel like it. Because habits are built in repetition. And the more you act, the less you think, the less you doubt, the less you hesitate, until one day, action becomes natural and overthinking disappears. So remember this. You don't need more time. You need more courage. You don't need more thinking. You need more doing, because your life will not change by what you think about. It will change by what you act on. So act now, not later, not someday. Now, let me share a powerful idea with you. Success is simple, but people make it complicated. And that's where the problem begins. There are two types of minds, the simple mind and the complicated mind. And the difference between them determines everything. Your actions, your decisions, your results. Now listen carefully. The simple mind focuses on what works. The complicated mind focuses on what could go wrong. The simple mind says, this is what I need to do. The complicated mind says, but what if? And that what if becomes a trap, a loop, a cycle of endless thinking. You see, the simple mind understands something important. You don't need to know everything to do something. You don't need perfect clarity to take the first step. You don't need guarantees to move forward. The simple mind sees the path and walks it. But the complicated mind, it analyzes the path. It questions the path. It doubts the path until the path disappears. Let me give you an example. A simple mind says, I need to wake up early. And then it does. No drama, no overthinking, just action. But a complicated mind says, should I wake up early? What if I don't get enough sleep? What if I feel tired? Maybe I'll start tomorrow. And just like that, nothing happens. That's the difference. The simple mind acts. The complicated mind delays. Now understand this clearly. The complicated mind is not smarter. It just feels smarter because it asks more questions, because it considers more options, because it thinks more deeply. But thinking deeply is not always useful, especially when it stops you from acting. Because in life, results don't come from thinking more. They come from doing more. Let me say that again. Results come from action, not analysis, not hesitation, not endless planning, action. Now here's the danger. The more you complicate things, the harder they feel, the heavier they become, the more resistance you create, and eventually you stop. Not because it's impossible, but because it feels overwhelming. That's what a complicated mind does. It turns simple tasks into heavy burdens. It turns clear paths into confusing decisions. It turns small steps into impossible challenges. And then you wonder why you're not moving forward. But the truth is, you're not stuck. You're just overthinking. Now let's talk about the simple mind again, because this is where your power is. The simple mind asks one question: what needs to be done? And then it does it. No extra thinking, no unnecessary doubt, just clarity and action. The simple mind understands something powerful. You figure things out as you go. You adjust. You learn. You improve. But you move. Always move. And that's why the simple mind wins. Not because it knows more, but because it does more. Now here's the shift you must make. Stop trying to make everything perfect. Stop trying to understand everything before you begin. Stop trying to eliminate all risk, because that's what creates complexity. Instead, focus on simplicity. Break things down. One step, one action, one decision. That's it. Don't think about the whole journey. Just think about the next step and take it. Because progress is built step by step, not all at once. Now here's a powerful habit. When something feels overwhelming, simplify it. When your mind starts racing, simplify it. When you don't know what to do, simplify it. Ask yourself, what is the next simple action I can take? And do that. Nothing more, nothing less. Because simplicity creates clarity, and clarity creates action, and action creates results. That's the chain. Simple. Now remember this. Your mind can be your greatest tool or your greatest obstacle. If you let it complicate everything, it will hold you back. But if you train it to simplify, it will move you forward. So choose wisely. Choose the simple path, not the easy path, but the clear path, the path of action, the path of progress, the path of growth. Because at the end of the day, success is not about doing complicated things. It's about doing simple things consistently, without overthinking, without hesitation, without stopping. So stop making it harder than it needs to be. Stop complicating your life. Stop overthinking every step and start simplifying Because when you simplify, you move. And when you move, you win. Let me tell you something powerful. Momentum is everything. Not talent, not luck, not perfect timing. Momentum. Because once you start moving, life starts responding. Doors begin to open. Ideas begin to flow. Confidence begins to rise. All because you took action. You see, the hardest part is not the journey. It's not the work. It's not even the obstacles. The hardest part is the beginning. That first step. That moment when you must move without knowing everything. That moment when you must act without overthinking. That's where most people stop. They wait. They think. They hesitate. And because they hesitate, they never start. And because they never start, they never build momentum. Now understand this. Momentum is not something you wait for. It's something you create with action. Small action. Simple action. Repeated daily. You don't need to do something big. You don't need to change your whole life overnight. You just need to move. One step, one decision, one action. And then do it again and again and again. That's how momentum is built. Not in one day, but over time. Now here's where it gets powerful. Momentum makes things easier. What once felt difficult starts to feel normal. What once felt uncomfortable becomes a habit. What once felt impossible becomes achievable. Why? Because you kept going. You didn't stop to analyze every step. You didn't pause every time doubt appeared. You moved. And movement creates belief. Belief in yourself. Belief in your ability. Belief that you can figure things out. That's how confidence is built. Not by thinking about it, but by doing it. Now here's the danger you must understand. Momentum can work both ways. If you act, you build positive momentum. If you hesitate, you build negative momentum. If you keep delaying, it becomes easier to delay again. If you keep overthinking, it becomes natural to overthink again. And before you know it, inaction becomes your habit. That's why you must protect your momentum, not your comfort, not your excuses. Your momentum, because once you lose it, starting again feels heavy. Starting again feels hard. But once you have it, everything flows. Now listen closely. There will be days when you don't feel like moving, days when you feel tired, days when you feel unmotivated, days when your mind tries to pull you back into overthinking. That's normal. That's part of the process. But this is where most people fail. They rely on feelings. They say, I'll do it when I feel like it. But winners don't wait for feelings. They rely on discipline. They act regardless of how they feel because they understand something powerful. Action creates energy, not the other way around. You don't wait to feel energized to take action. You take action and energy follows. You don't wait to feel confident to move forward. You move forward and confidence grows. That's how it works. Now let's go deeper. Winning in life is not about big moments. It's about daily decisions. The small things, the simple things, done consistently, without overthinking, without hesitation. That's the formula. Simple, but not easy. Because it requires discipline. It requires commitment. It requires you to act even when it's uncomfortable. But if you do that, if you stay consistent, if you protect your momentum, something incredible happens. You become unstoppable. Not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger. Stronger in your thinking, stronger in your actions, stronger in your discipline. And once you reach that point, overthinking loses its power. It can still appear, but it no longer controls you because you've trained yourself to act anyway. So here's what you must do. Start now, not later, not tomorrow. Now, take one step, no matter how small, and then take another, and another, and another. Build the habit of action. Protect your momentum, and refuse to go back to overthinking everything. Because your future is not built by the thoughts in your head. It is built by the actions you take every single day. So remember this. Don't think too much. Act more. Because when you move, you grow. When you grow, you win. Don't think too much. Stop letting your mind run in circles. Stop giving fear the power to delay you. Your ideas are not meant to sit idle. Your opportunities are not meant to wait. Act. Move. Start. Take that first step. Even if it's small. Even if it's messy. Even if you feel uncertain. Because momentum is born from action. Action builds confidence. Action builds clarity. Action builds success. Remember, life rewards the doers, not the thinkers, not the hesitators, not the overanalyzers, but the people who act repeatedly, consistently, without waiting for the perfect moment, without waiting for permission, without waiting for certainty. So today, decide, move, act, and keep moving. Because your future is not built in your mind. It's built by your actions. So take control. Stop overthinking. Start winning.